Hey everybody, I just finished another book in the Spinetingler series. This is Step on a Crack. Um, this is one of the books that's very highly regarded as one of the better books in the series, and yeah, I can see why. This is might be my favorite one right now. Boogie's Back for Blood is one that I really liked, and I'm not sure if I like this one better than that one or not. Either way, it's really close. Yeah. The story itself is about these Native American. It starts off with a prologue. There's these Native Americans, and there's like this big tribe, and they're fighting this thing that's like traveling under the ground. And one of the Native Americans jump into the hole or whatever, tries to sacrifice himself, and he gets eaten by whatever this thing is. And there's like blood shooting up, like when it pulls them underground and all that stuff. It doesn't hide that, and that was awesome. This happened like 650 years ago. We cut back to present day, and Billy and three of his friends are going walking to school or somewhere. They're walking somewhere. He's got the only friends that I really remember that are like actually important is Jack, and there's this like, guy called Malcolm, but it's like Malcolm with a B at the end of it, which is really weird. Like I don't know if people actually spell their names like that, but that's one thing I noticed about this series too is a lot of the people's names are very different. But yeah, and you'll see more of these as we kind of go later on. They're walking around and they're just kind of talking about things. They're talking about this teacher that's really scary named Mr. His name, I'm going to spell it because I don't know how to pronounce that, but it's Knisbaum, like Nisbaum, which is weird. But yeah, that's one of the teachers that's really scary. They talk about this teacher's daughter that's in their school, and I don't remember her name. I think it's like Sheila or something. And they're picking on Billy about like asking her out on a date and different things like that. These kids are like 10 years old, a lot younger than the average like Goosebumps character. I think most of those are like 12 or so. But yeah, they're just mainly joking around. Nothing really happened yet. They're talking about going to school and doing this like rope climbing thing. And inside this, they have to like climb this rope and touch the ceiling to the gymnasium. And this is another teacher that they're all scared of. His name is Mr. Worcester. Again, very weird. This is like two chapters worth. So the next chapter, they're actually in the gym trying to climb this rope and touch the ceiling. I had a feeling that this would be important, and it does come into play later on. They're climbing the rope, touching the rope, touching the top, and this Malcolm guy, he's kind of an overweight kid, so he struggles to do it. The main kid named Billy, he doesn't have trouble at all. And then there's Danny. I can't remember how his progress went, but Danny's mainly the jokester of the group. And again, there's two other guys that I don't remember their name. I think it's like Jack and I don't know, Jesse. I don't know. But yeah, they're not really that important. Long story short, what basically happens is Billy and this Malcolm guy starts getting this funny feeling that something bad's going to happen. And they talk about it, and they both have the same feeling. So they're not sure exactly what's going on. They think something bad is about to happen. They're not sure. Billy starts noticing small things at first, like the grass moving with no wind blowing, the ground slightly rumbling, and he starts smelling this like burning gas sensation. And he tries to tell his friends about it. They don't believe him. Malcolm is the only one that actually kind of believes him, but he's scared of getting made fun of and all this. So one day he's at Danny's house. They just got through riding bikes and all this cool stuff. And it felt like a straight up 90s book because they're outside playing and all this cool stuff. So Billy is sitting in a chair, like waiting for Danny to come back. Feels a rumble in the ground and all this crazy stuff. And he gets freaked out and he starts screaming. So the Danny's dad comes out, checks on him, and he's like, what's going on? Why are you doing all this crazy stuff? And yeah, basically after this, everybody thinks Billy is crazy. He starts thinking something's going on and all that. And the only person that he found that he can actually trust is the teacher named Mr. Nisbaum or whatever, the scary teacher. And he tells him basically, where do you think you're going to get the answers for all of your questions and stuff? And he eventually leads him to the library. He goes to the library. He pulls out this book and he looks up monsters and different things like that, trying to figure out what's going on. But he finds this book, a history of, I don't remember the town's name, but it's like Darenberg or something. And in this book, he finds the story from the Native Americans of what happened. Basically, there's this thing called the Redman Watchu that travels underground, and it eats people, eats their souls, and yeah, it basically wiped out this whole thing, or a lot of the Native Americans, until it got tired, and they trapped it under this, which is now like a construction site place that these kids like to go and see how everything's getting done. There's a lot of like concrete pouring and stuff like that, which is fine, I guess. But yeah, that's basically where this thing got trapped, and that's the story of how this thing, is. It can travel through planets and all that stuff or whatever. And I don't think it tells you that in the book. It just tells you in this book that Billy's reading. The monster itself actually talks to Billy like through its mind. It can read your mind. So yeah, you feel very. I feel very, I felt very bad for Billy because this thing can read his mind. It can travel underground. It threatens to kill his mom, his dad, all of his friends, but it really wants Billy because Billy's the one that's like not scared of it. Billy's the one that knows about it, and he's the only one that believes this thing is real. Everybody else doesn't. And yeah, and that's basically the plot of Step on a Crack. There's a really good church scene that I thought was really really cool, where he thinks that he can even ask the preacher, and he doesn't really do it. Just the teacher's the only one that he really goes and asks questions. He actually looks for answers in prayer, which is very relatable because I know that if I feel bad for stuff, I do pray. Not so. This preacher talks about like praying for like very minor things like TV, like the TV not having a good show on and stuff like that. I don't pray for stuff like that. I was taught not to. And you pray for things that are important like family and stuff. Not going off on that tangent, but yeah. Very quickly though, I do want to mention that this book did bring back some memories of me as a kid being scared of crazy things. I remember when I was really little, my grandma taught me about like the devil and God and stuff like this. And I thought when I heard about the devil, I was actually terrified. I thought that the devil could like reach up through the ground and get you and things like that, which is crazy. But yeah, this brought back like a fear that I forgot that I had. So yeah, there's also a guy passes away in this book from a heart attack, which, there's actually people that die in this book, which is crazy. There's even a scare scene where we think somebody else dies, but he doesn't. And I remember, this is going off on another tangent, I'm sorry, but there's another thing what I remembered about, where like I remember learning about somebody dying from a heart attack when I was a kid. I'm talking like a really young age here. And I remember I asked, what is a heart attack? They're like, well, your heart stops beating. And this is my grandma teaching me this stuff too. And I remember every like 10 minutes I kept feeling my heart to see if it was still beating. Like yeah, this book brought back a lot of memories, and that's why I enjoyed it for other reasons too, but that it does get a slight nod for that too, which is crazy. But yeah, that's basically what Step on the Crack is about. Billy basically has to go and prove that this thing is like traveling underground trying to get everybody. Eventually it does like show its face, sort of. And the only thing that I could really complain about this book is what this thing looks like. I wasn't a fan of that. I thought, Billy actually had an imagination of what this thing would look like. And I'd much rather preferred that what it looked like, but it doesn't. And yeah, it was kind of disappointing. I was hoping to see something a little crazier, but it is what it is. I'm not going to spoil what it looks like, but yeah. Other than that, Step on a Crack doesn't really get a lot of negatives for me. I was going to say that I didn't really understand how this thing got trapped, but I kind of do. It loses its, from the Native Americans or whatever. It gets trapped because it has to eat like as soon as traveling or whatever. It gets really weak and things like that. It has to eat pretty soon. And if it gets distracted by somebody that can stop it possibly, then it's going to go after that person. And yeah, that's basically it. And if it loses energy, it kind of gets weak or either dies. But yeah, Step on a Crack is easily one of the better books in the Spinetingler series. Definitely one of the greater ones. It's definitely high up there for me. It's a very serious book. There's not really a lot of funny things. The book had a lot of heart. I loved all the characters. There's even some scenes where Billy tries to tell his parents about what's going on, and his mom basically says, "I'm so glad that you're over all this monster nonsense," and it really hits. I was like, man, that kind of sucked, but yeah, Step on a Crack, 5 out of 5 stars for me. I mean, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. This was an absolutely perfect book. I love the tie-ins to the beginning of the climbing the rope thing. I love the teacher that they're scared of. They took a different approach on the teacher aspect, where the teacher isn't a bad guy. The teacher is actually a really good guy, just trying to help out. And yeah, Billy likes his daughter and stuff like that. There's a little tie-in to the end of that, which is really cute. Yeah, Step on a Crack is probably one of the best Spinetinglers books that I've read so far. I'm excited to read Killer Computer, but I'm probably going to save it. I thought about reading it this month, but I'm thinking I'm going to save it because the only other one that I've heard that is really good is Billy Baker's Dog Won't Stay Buried and the Killer Computer one. And there's like 30 of these books, so I might read some bad ones. Not now. I've already read Pet Store and The Curse of the Cheerleaders and this one back to back. Just like 3 in a row for me. So I am going to take a break from the Spine Tingler series and probably come back to it. But yeah, I do want to read those, and I kind of want to save the good ones for the last. I don't want to end on a sour note. So yeah, if you guys know of any other ones that I haven't read yet that are really good, again, I've read Snow Day. A lot of people told me Snow Day was good. Didn't care for it. Haven't done a review for it yet, but I do plan on it soon. But yeah, Step on a Crack, 5 out of 5 stars from me, guys. Please let me know in the comments below, what did you think about this book? This book definitely hit on all chords and was really one of the better books in the series. So yeah, I am excited to tackle more. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.